Hello and welcome to another episode of Chillin' with Dylan. Today I'm so excited to talk about this special and very informative and fun topic. This podcast is about how to gym effectively. And for today's episode, we have a really awesome guy who's very experienced in this field or knows a lot. And he's a new guest. And I'm so happy to welcome along Cedric. How are you doing today, mate?
I'm good, Don. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm good.
We're just out at the CWD studios, aka my flat.
Yep.
So I hope you're comfortable here, mate.
Yeah, no, good. It's good so far.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess how do we know each other? How do we get I mean, that's what I usually start off with.
Yeah.
When did we meet? It was a couple of years.
A couple of years ago. Yeah. I guess it started off with Jen, right? Like new Jen from, many years back, and I guess, sort of stars align, right? Like as you sort of go through like high school, uni, you sort of meet a lot of people, and I guess that's sort of where we sort of intertwined.
Yeah. Jen is my fiance currently. It might be later, different, but she was in the wedding podcast we did previously in Chillin' with Dylan. But yeah, no, I'm so glad I've gotten to know you, Cedric. You've basically been like a friend, and also, not just that, a personal trainer to me, right?
Yes. Yeah.
More recently, not the whole time, right?
Yeah. Fairly recently, getting a little bit of exercise and just, sharing my tips and tricks.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed that experience, if I'm being honest.
Oh, thank you.
Learned a lot. But how about you, man? You've, I know that you've done this gym stuff quite a lot. And what's your general experience like over the years? How have you kind of gone through and grown in that?
No, that's a good question. Like, I mean, started, lifting weights, ever since, I guess, the good old years of 2013, when you're sort of still in high school, sort of learning the ropes, and you sort of just like, want to get big, want to look good, want to feel good. So I sort of had to go, I had to sort of learn the sort of hard way and, go through the ropes, so, fail and sort of learn again. But yeah, no, like all I knew back then was simply just like bicep curls, just pick up a pair of dumbbells and just like lifting them up, and that's all I knew. But then like that sort of evolved to bodybuilding videos and having like a bodybuilding.com, looking at what how I should train certain body parts, and so that sort of like evolved since then to being a little bit more strategic in terms of how I'm training and being more smart and make sure I'm
So that's a good, let me do the maths, 10 years or so of solid gym experience, right?
Yeah,
man. That's good. And you've more recently been helping people. How's that been for you? Are you enjoying that process of building that up?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I love helping people. Like, if anyone knows me, like, I love helping. So that sort of like came about when I was sort of, obviously doing my full-time work at over at KPMG, and sort of thought like, I love the gym, I love helping people, why not put it together? And that's sort of where personal training came about, was the passion for helping people and just being able to get them to go for their goals basically and work towards them.
Wait, you're at KPMG, like?
Yes. Well, previous.
Okay. Nah, just like my friends are pretty, they look up to that kind of stuff a lot. But what was your role? Was it were you accountant or auditor or something?
Yeah, auditor. Yeah, so I was an auditor for, I think it was my third year by the time I left. So started in 2020, and so it was living the corporate lifestyle. Anyone sitting behind a desk.
For anyone who's living that corporate office lifestyle, I mean, just kind of being in an office 8 hours a day is like, I'd say it's quite physically confining, isn't it? Like, sometimes you just want to like either after 8 hours in a day, either lie in your bed at home and just do nothing and be a potato, or maybe you're like pent up and you just want to like hit the gym. And that's what like kind of brought me into the gym more recently. Actually, like I think like I've been doing it for a couple of months now actually, and like just doing it after work most of the time, and really helping me physically as well as mentally, getting that balance in life. And soon enough, luckily thanks to Jen, I was linked up with Cedric,
Yeah.
who I didn't really know was doing this personal training stuff too much. But
Yeah.
but now we've done a few sessions, and so learned a lot. What was when you first started? I guess going all the way back. Did your expectations of starting gym turn out to be reality, or how was how would you say for for anyone who's starting for the first time, any tips or things that people commonly get tripped up on?
Yeah.
Do you have any experience?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like expectations of the gym. Like, I mean, when I sort of started out and like when I sort of got my gym membership, like I sort of didn't have much expectation. I was sort of like, I'm here to exercise. I'm just, here to just like learn type thing. And just like, it was a good way to sort of help in the mental health aspect, like help sort of just like anything that I sort of had on my mind. I sort of took it out in the gym type thing. And it's quite good because you sort of leave feeling like you're like, oh yeah, like I actually like accomplished something and you feel great about it. But I did remember like it being quite intimidating, because there's so many people and you're sort of like, oh, like where do you begin? Like there's all these different machines and like you sort of feel like people are sort of like looking at you and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Dude, straight up, like when I started, probably it was about 16 or 18 or something like that. I feel like there's so many big guys at the gym.
Yes.
Like, there's just these. As a guy, I feel like you can't help but like be like.
You stare at them, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah. Like who is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy because you sort of see those people and you're like, how did they do that? And like you're sort of a little bit naive. You're like, oh, like how did they do it? Like they must have been here for 20 plus years.
Yeah. Often I was like, why do I always see this guy at the gym in the same spot or this girl at the same spot all the time? It's like, but I think at the time when you first start out, I found like it's just like quite daunting sometimes. But like I've been on and off of the gym in my time last 5 or 10 years. But every time I get back into it, it feels good. So I feel like if there's anyone out there listening who's just starting out on their journey, there's a long road ahead, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, a long road. Like it's a lot of sort of like, getting used to but you sort of realize that no one really cares, about how you look or what you do. It's sort of like everyone's sort of there for their own sort of reasons and no one's really there to really judge anyone, which is always a good thing. I feel like if there is, then there's something wrong with that person, I feel like.
Nah, that's good. Cool. So there's different types of equipment in the gym, different approaches. There's classes. There's personal training, or there's lots of equipment for different body parts. And some main classes of exercises include weights and also cardio.
Yep.
Is there any useful things to know about either of those? Like, is it advantageous to do one or the other, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have like the cardio portion and the sort of strength training portion, right? Like, I mean, people that tend to do, weight training tend to do it for, a little bit more strength, gain a little bit more muscle mass, and people that tend to do cardio are probably more likely, well, they sort of think it's, for the body, losing a little bit of body fat and, I guess it's more of an endurance, it's sort of seen as more of an endurance, like sort of way, but I mean, there's obviously like merits to both. Like I think it's rather than sort of leaning one to one side or the other. Like I think it's good to be able to incorporate both. Because I'd say like you can't really sort of get away with just like strength training alone and like not be able to do cardio because you sort of don't build that cardiovascular health and you feel like you're just tired like walking around and not really fit and it's not really good for your heart. But on the other side as well, it's like if you want to be able to build, lean body mass, you couldn't just do cardio and expect that you're just going to get like thin and then you're just going to be sort of big at the same time as well.
I've definitely found in the last year or two, I've done one or the other real intensely, like running and trying to train for a half marathon. And unfortunately, I lost a lot of like muscle mass. Yes. I got like slim, but I mean, I achieved my goal, but people noticed.
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't too harsh on that though. But yeah, but like I think maybe at different stages. Do you think people could focus more on one or the other, like
Yeah.
in particular instances maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of relative to your goal, right? Like, if your goal is to, lose weight, then I guess like it's always good sort of comparing and contrasting between the two, and
Yeah.
just like figuring out like what works better for your own like sort of schedule and your lifestyle, and you know just what sort of working towards what you have at that end. Like it's always like, what can you commit to? What can you actually progressively work towards?
Yeah, I think the main phrases I hear about is like is like cutting.
Yeah, cutting,
What else is
bulking,
it? Bulking.
bulking. Yeah,
Dirty bulking.
dirty bulking, dirty bulking.
What do
Yeah,
you think about dirty bulking or like all those?
yeah.
What's all the yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's a thing, obviously. People sort of like binge eat and get
That
really
sounds
big.
great. Like I can't imagine eating KFC every day and
Yeah.
getting bigger from that.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've really ever. I don't think I could ever really stick to dirty bulking forever, right? Like, I mean, yes, like food tastes nice, but after a while, I feel you just get pretty sick of it. Like you're having like Macca's or, pizzas sort of every day, and I feel like you just don't feel that great. So I think it's always good to. I think it's fine to have foods like that, fast foods, but it's always good to always dial it back and go like, what do I actually need to do to actually function a lot better?
Yeah, and some of those foods do impact longer term health.
Yes.
I think we'll probably get into that later, right? Maybe a little bit more. But yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's always balance is often important in a lot of areas, and exercise is no different. What do you do currently? I guess you train at the gym personally.
Yeah.
What kind of exercises and stuff currently do you
Yeah.
at this stage?
Yeah. I guess like in terms of my training, because I used to compete. Well, sort of did a bit of a comp back in 2020, COVID year.
Yeah.
And so I guess like ever since then I've sort of been, just trying to like maintain / be a little bit of a surplus in terms of eating and just training a lot smarter, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of my actual split, it's it's your classic, push pull legs, your chest and your triceps, and then your back and your biceps and your legs. But yeah, generally I think my training has sort of evolved over the years. Like I think even till now, like I think I'm a lot smarter in terms of how I lift, focusing on the technique, not just, ego lifting, not pushing the weight, to the extreme. And always just like taking a step back and being like, what am I actually working on? Which has been quite good. And, I guess it's really paid off in terms of just avoiding a little bit of injury like this year.
True.
Yeah.
Getting injured sets you back often, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's not a great feeling.
But yeah, I mean, like depending on what's happening at the time, like during that season of bodybuilding stuff, right? The competitions, it was probably very different. Yeah. So I'm not saying everyone should become a bodybuilder. Right?
No,
but,
no.
If you did, you wouldn't do the same thing you would normally do at the gym for that season, right? Yeah. Okay. The other thing that's kind of related, I guess, there's a lot of chat about this thing called leg day.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meme, isn't it?
It is a bit of a meme. Yeah.
It's kind of meme for guys, I think.
Yeah.
Especially, it's like, you're doing leg day today.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about, leg, or like, how leg day affects the rest of your workouts and
Yeah, I mean, I say this to everyone, but leg day is like an essential. Like it's like one of those, like it's the worst thing to train, but it's the most rewarding at the same time. Like, it sucks. Like it's the one thing. I mean, for guys generally they shy away from, but I feel girls love legs. It's like
I think there's a like different from our perspective.
Yeah, like guys hate it, but girls love it. But then when it comes to upper body, girls hate it. Guys love it. It's a bit of a
there's a bit of a difference. I don't know. Yeah. From a guy's perspective, I think I've definitely done some leg days where, like, afterwards I'm just like stuffed. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I hate. It's just a few days afterwards.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess knowing that might happen and mentally preparing for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not particularly fun sometimes, but it's just one of those things.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's good to like I always like say like, it sort of helps build the foundation of training. Like if you can sort of work through that,
Yeah.
like I feel like um it sort of sets you up for all the other exercises that you do because your pain tolerance is a lot like greater. And you just find like there's just a lot more sort of development in your body because you're having to sort of use a little bit more energy,
Yeah.
which is a win-win really.
Cool. Yeah, and on that note, I mean, like we talked about how guys and girls view leg day, and I think that's a very important point to consider because there's decent amount of differences in the body type and shape of, not just the difference between guys and girls, but between different guys and different girls.
Exactly. Yeah.
In general, though, do you have any thoughts on whether any strategies work well for guys or girls or what people tend to look for or after?
Yeah. Generally, like I always like think about like sort of built like what it's all very dependent on like what you're working out, right?
Yeah.
Like if your goal for the day basically is to do push, then it's gonna be focusing on your chest. Like, are you really feeling your chest, or are you feeling it more like elsewhere?
Yeah.
So yeah, I always try to get my clients to take a step back and just be like, are you feeling it? What cues do we need to use to be able to like feel it in the right places that we want to be able to feel it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like because it's easy enough to just be able to do the exercise, but to really feel the exercise and actually feel the right body part working, takes a little bit of time to, get used to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I find it hard to know what's happening in my body. I
Yes.
just feel like all sorts of things. But I think yes, yeah, like what you said, you're gonna know what you're like after as well.
Yeah.
Do you have more? Is there like do you think in terms of the gym that you work at, is there like a balance between the genders that like splits and what they do there, or like
Do you mean sort of like
gym
who?
in general? Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I mean over at Newlands, City Fit, like I mean I'd say it's like pretty split between like males and females. Yeah, definitely being the new gym does tend to tends to get quite packed with, especially with the new people. They sort of set as the place to go to.
I've actually heard a lot of good things about that gym, the gym that you based there, and I go there sometimes alongside the other ones.
Yeah.
That City Fitness has. But yeah, shout out to anyone that goes there and is
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where we got to know. I got to know Cedric as the personal trainer, the great personal trainer that he is.
Yeah. Thank you.
The place to be, right?
Place to be.
In
Yeah.
Wellington, at least.
Yeah. Like it's definitely the gym, where you sort of got the most space and definitely a lot of nice people as well. So definitely, the place to go to.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. So we talked about this before, but do you have any thoughts on the topic of nutrition? Any tips there, or like how it affects the exercises, like timing wise, or
Like I'd say like nutrition is pretty important as well, but generally there's like no, I mean there's sort of a bit of misconception about like is there like a best diet, or should I be eating chicken and rice all day every day? Like I get it all the time. And like I think the truth is like there is like no best diet that works for everyone. Like everyone's sort of different, everyone's body composition is different. So like I generally don't tend to give people sort of like strict like diets or anything, just because like I know like everyone's body's different, and sort of my approach is what are you currently eating, what can we sort of cut down in terms of portion sizes, or what can we sort of replace based on what you're currently eating that might be quite similar to that. And in that way, like assuming that your goal is, for example, to lose weight, then as long as you're managing your portion sizes right, then as long as you're in a deficit, then you in theory should be able to lose some weight.
That sounds cool. I mean, I really think, I agree with that approach. You're kind of like seeing where people are at the point.
Yes.
Where they are with their body, where they are with their eating, and then you're kind of pushing them towards the right direction or area for whatever their goals are, right?
Yep.
So you're not, as a personal trainer, you're not trying to be a nutritionist at the same
No,
time.
no,
No,
yeah.
you don't want. Do people do that? Like they're more.
Yeah.
They do both or kind of or just. I mean.
Yeah, like there are people that do the sort of like the nutritional side as well, and
Yeah.
like be able to do like meal preps for people, and
Mm.
but yeah, I just find like there's just a lot of variables behind that. You know, you can always advise on what might work, but like if I had to go like full diet plan on someone, it might be a little bit hard to follow, and people sort of feel less motivated to really try it because they can't even stick to it, and they just feel like they're losing, they're failing, and then obviously the motivation goes down, and it's a bit of a compounding thing. So I'm very much like at least in the beginning stages going, what do you eat? How much are you eating? Do you buy takeaways? Just to get an idea on what it is, and then you can slowly start changing things as they sort of progress.
Yeah, I think it's easier to like change one thing at a time than
Yes.
just like stop everything you're doing.
Exactly.
As soon as midnight on Monday starts, you're like,
Yeah.
a new plan. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right? Like just incremental improvements can be nice. I think one of the I thought actually the science of it is quite important. I think I don't know, for me I learned about nutrition a little bit as I grew up through like high school and health classes. I do remember those. Yeah, alongside all these other things that they teach you in health. But nutrition was one of the things I thought I got out a lot. Just I think the concept of energy, like like you say, deficit or
deficit or surplus.
Surplus, right? I think it's something I try to think of from day to day, not just in the context of gymming or exercise, but just what am I eating at the start of the day to the end. How does it add up energy wise and stuff, because I also think about it from the science perspective. It's like this is like I won't get into but there's things like calorie counting, right? And what do you think, like, do they kind of help people or make it harder?
Tracking, I think like tracking macros is good as well. Like I think like if you sort of you've been doing it for a while, you're sort of like not really a beginner anymore, and you're sort of really looking to get into like the specifics of things. Like definitely like counting macros is obviously like ideal, and obviously if it's catering towards your goal, that might vary. So it's a little bit of a pain to be able to do, for in the beginning, but sort of once you get in the rhythm of things, it's a lot sort of easier to do.
And are there good tools and stuff out there, or do you?
Generally I use like MyFitnessPal. Don't feel like a lot of people have heard about that, but it's quite good because you can sort of just use the app and scan the barcode type thing, and it's got like all your macro breakdowns, and then you just adjust like your serving size and stuff. So pretty easy to use, quite useful.
I know I actually haven't heard of that one too much.
True.
I should use more apps like that. I have enough apps on my phone anyway. It's really full on space. Unfortunately, I actually have a weird approach. I try to do a lot of things in my head and like just maths it out, which is funny. But maybe I'll look into that.
Like the barcode is very simple. It's just literally if you've got like I don't know, like a nut bar for example, it's got the barcode. You can just scan it. If it's in the sort of the database, which generally it is, you could literally just go like one serving, and then it's just got your macro breakdown, and you just put it in, and it does your total for the day basically. So your fats, your carbs, your protein, which is quite helpful. Definitely use it while I was on prep as well, which I definitely needed, because after you get it up until a certain point, you sort of need to dial it down and make sure it's sort of precise.
No, that's cool. I think nutrition is a very important aspect of any personal like training exercise regime if you're like focused on a goal. I don't know. I was just thinking also, like, do you think it's better to use that as a unit, is calories better or is kilojoules? I mean, you see all both, right? And some people like don't know, like get confused by it. What do you do, or like how do you?
I mean,
does it matter?
No. I feel like it doesn't really matter too much. Like I'm very much just like simple approach. I'm very much like if it's just calories, then it's just calories, and then you just sort of do the calculation, to figure out how much you should or shouldn't be having. But I mean, I feel like calories is a lot easier because it's probably a little bit.
It's what's the calc? It's like there's one magic number. It's like 4.6 something something.
Oh gosh, I can't think about it on the top of my head.
Like basically, kilojoules is just the same thing as calories, but it's like 4 times ish.
Yeah.
How much a calorie is? You're just using a different name for it.
Yeah, it's probably different metric, but yeah.
But I think that might be something that like makes people like real intimidated.
Yeah, especially like for beginners. Like I think. I'm very much like I take a very simplistic approach to things because I know that a majority of people it's quite hard for them to stick to like tracking and stuff. So as long as they can sort of like as long as they're sort of noticing the progresses and they're sort of taking the time with it and taking a simple approach, then 9 times out of 10 they'll probably see a bit of a difference.
Keep it simple. That's cool. Yeah, that's true. Sweet. So I guess this is going to be a fun question for you. I mean, I think some people probably think about it, and it's like do I do it or do I not? Like, is it worth it? Is it not? But the whole field or realm of personal training.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone who knows this quite well. What are your thoughts, or what would you say to people who are kind of in the middle? Should I do it? Should I not? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? Like, I could easily just be like, yes, and like, come to me type thing. I mean, it's easy enough to kind of do that. But yeah, I always say that, like, it depends. Like, like, are you sort of generally with a trainer, you sort of see them as a coach, right? Like, it's to get you through to that goal that you want. And sort of walk you through the process. Like, obviously they're not like a magic pill and you sort of just get a PT and you're just automatically going to get results. Like, I think ultimately you just like PTs are just like people that provide accountability. And obviously there's varying levels of that. So like, I mean, I like to sort of think that if you sort of were looking to get a PT, it'd be more on the lines of, are you ready to commit to like a goal, and like how serious are you? Like, because the PT isn't really gonna get, the PT is obviously gonna help you get there, and hopefully you get sort of what you want out of it. But ultimately it comes under you, and like you sort of see the gym as more of a lifestyle more than just like, oh, I'm just here to do a goal, because you sort of work with your PT for a few weeks or months, and eventually they get to a stage where they're like, oh, I can actually do this on my own, and like it's good to have that sort of support and just checking in and that kind of stuff. So to answer that question, it depends. It depends. So it's always it depends.
It depends. I mean, for me, I think it was for sure worth it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I'm not just doing this because Cedric's paid me, but like, I'm just saying, like, he's a good personal trainer as well as a human, I think.
Oh, thank you.
I think it was actually better for me. Actually, I found that, like, because I think Jen brought it up a couple of times, and I was just like, oh, okay, like, I forgot, but I was like, okay, at least it's someone I kind of know, like, it's like within my networks, like, I'll, like, let's link up and see what Cedric does, and like, for me, I found, as someone who's never done it before, except for like when you join the gym.
Oh, like an orientation type. Yeah.
And they weigh you and this is the first time I properly did that with Cedric, and I feel like it feels like a journey, right? Like you start off like getting to know each other, and then afterwards you're kind of a bit more comfortable, and just kind of like, I think my gym routine started evolving.
Oh, that's good.
As we work together longer, and I feel much more confident. So much so that I'm now making a podcast with Cedric, eh?
Come a long way.
But I don't think I'll consider being a personal trainer. Maybe a podcast trainer. Just kidding. But I think it was like just the main question of, like, in general things, that there's a professional helping you, right? Sometimes you think that like the money is like a big factor, but sometimes without like a extra sort of addition of, I don't know, there's other professionals in other areas, like you don't change something that might need to be changed. I mean, like, what kind of other things are there? Like, this could be like, I don't know, like your financial advisor. Or something else. Relationship coach.
Oh, yeah.
Some people need that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't. But
I mean, like...
No, I'm just saying that because Jen is actually in the room. She's just kind of like nudging us forward, and maybe we'll cut this out. Anyways, hopefully we don't, right?
I mean, like, yeah, as you said, like some people find fitness a lot harder than other people. Like I was quite lucky to be in a situation where I could, get through it myself and like figure it out on my own type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And obviously I still had to learn with other people, I still had to train with people that obviously knew a lot more than
Yeah.
me and sort of understand like, how to train and, the way it works basically. So, some people may find that easy, but then some people don't literally have zero like knowledge on where to start or what to even do. So, I mean, you sort of see it as like an investment to yourself, right? Like
think so,
you're putting the money forward to learn more about the gym, how to exercise, and basically how to get towards your goal.
Yeah, it's like investing in shares, but
Yeah.
maybe it's in your own body.
Yeah, well, it's your,
thing,
sort of
or
your
knowledge.
health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
health as well.
Health as wealth, exactly.
Same thing as investing in
Exactly.
stocks, eh?
Yep, exactly.
Nah. No, that's cool, and no, it makes a lot of sense that it can be a step that can bring a reward, and so you obviously started from pretty much nothing, right? You're like a gym noob,
Yeah.
just like a lot of people are, and you got to where you are
Yeah.
probably through a lot of hard work and determination. Now you're at the point where you are now giving back, right? Like, and what about the process you're going through? I mean, is there anything you want to share about your current goals and stuff? Or like your work there.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of like current goals, I guess for this year, like I mean, it's easy enough to sort of go like I want to be able to bench like I don't know, like 120, 130, whatever it is, some number, right? But I sort of found like over the years, like in doing that, like I mean, it's obviously good to have goals around that, but for me personally, I'm more about like it's about longevity for me. Like, can I still lift and still feel healthy as I progress through the years? And so that definitely like this year I've sort of like again as I said before, like it's taking the step back. Like I can lift relatively heavy, and that's not like a thing to me, but it's more like can I do it in a way that's safe for my body, and can I feel like I can progress smartly as opposed to just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, actually I think about this a bit, but I feel like I mean I'm at this age. I'm not going to say my age.
Getting old.
I've already said it before in other podcasts, but where you like have a different view or approach. And I think you might be similar where I feel like at a certain age range, maybe it's 18 to 22.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone around you is a similar stage of life or perspective, but you're just like, I'm invincible. I'm like, come at me, bro. Like, you could do 200, I'll do 400.
Yeah,
like, you just like, so you could just like, yeah. Like,
I know what you mean.
Did you feel that?
100%. Like like I mean, like back in the day, like back when I was in like sort of uni, high school, like you sort of felt like your body's invincible, right? Like you could sort of lift like ridiculous numbers and. For me, like I was progressing so well with the gym in terms of strength that I was like, oh, like I can just keep going and going and going. But I sort of realized as I got a little bit older that I'm like, oh no, this is getting to a stage where I really need to slow down because because I basically like injured myself, not too long ago, but a year ago, like just, a little bit of back pain. And it sort of stuck around for quite a bit. And it's sort of the first time where I actually had an injury where it actually really, basically gave me a setback. Like I sort of had to like take a step, down and felt like I was doing all these things and, didn't really do anything. It was only actually until I came back from holiday, where I actually took like proper rest. I'm actually recovered and got sort of what I needed before coming back in and really just paying attention to like technique and like just form and like, if stuff isn't like warmed up and, stuff like, stretching as well is quite important. So I started to really prioritize that because, as I said, like as you get older, you sort of realize the importance of it and you can't really function optimally if you don't incorporate those things.
Yeah, and it's all balanced with everything else. Like as soon as you have like a full-time job at that point, like let's say 40 hours a week, what you do at the gym can either positively or negatively affect you as well.
Yes.
Hopefully positively. I kind of look up to and I admire those people who get up at 6 a.m., do a gym routine and start the day off. I think that's quite a good, like routine.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Maybe one day I'll get there. But
yeah.
you know what I mean. Mental benefits.
Yes. Especially when you're sort of sitting down all day, right? Like you're not really you're sort of just staring at your screen. You're sort of like in this sort of uncomfortable position, just like typing and it's. I feel like especially for people that work in office, I think the gym can be quite, valuable, for people just to get moving, really.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, like, do you think as humans, like, is it possible to just go through life with a very, like being in an office and sit in, like, not moving too much in general? This is quite philosophical. Like, is it something that, like, this is kind of like, like, what's our purpose in life?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are we meant to be always doing physical stuff, or can we, like, be all more mental completely?
Yeah, I mean, depends on how you see it, right? Like, I mean, if you're sort of sitting down all day and you sort of like don't have any exercise, I guess you might not really notice it sort of, short term, like, 1 year, 2 year. But I think it's more as you get older, if you don't really move your body, you're not really sort of getting what you need to, just for your heart and your brain and just being able to move. I think, especially when you're in sort of maybe your 60s, your 70s, you still want to be able to move and not really just be quite, immobile.
Yeah, definitely. For any 60 or 70-year-olds listening,
yeah,
you probably would agree, right? I don't know who you are or where you are, but hopefully that's a good tip if you're younger, to think of your 60 or 70-year-old self.
Yeah.
You're investing in yourself, right? Like,
yeah, health as well.
Investment, like, it's the 40-year game. It's the long-term game that matters.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Cool. Yeah. No. Thanks for that. Is there? I mean, we've gone through quite a bit, and yeah, I've learnt a bit, or like it's just been a good chat on fitness in general and health. Do you have any other tips? Ending kind of tips during this podcast episode that, maybe someone said this to you when you were like a young, gym go-getter, and you're like, wow, like this really changed my life, or is there anything that you think someone listening now could benefit from?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I always tell people as well, like, things take time. It's not, this isn't a short-term fix with you going to the gym. It's a process, and like, you learn to sort of love the process as you go along. So obviously, depending on your goal, and obviously it's a commitment as well, right? Like, it's not like you're not always going to be motivated. Like, a lot of the time when I turn up to the gym, I'm probably like not motivated. I'm sort of just like, I don't really want to be, like, I'm sort of like, you're tired from work, and you probably have like a billion other things happening in your life. But like, I still show up, like, and I think that's the first step, is if you can show up, and just like do, just that's like the first step, and everything else will sort of follow while you're there. So if it's sort of important to you, then you'll stick to it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like, just like keep at it, right? Like, not having a bit of perseverance and determination, and not letting a little setback, stop your routine completely. It's all the small things that add up often in so many areas of life.
That is, yeah.
For all the guys out there, don't expect to become The Rock in 1 month. Or some other, like, insert famous, bulky, scary movie star dude.
Yes. Yeah. It's never really like that. Like, it does take time. Like, it's ultimately, it comes down to sort of like, your accountability behind what you're doing, and you're never gonna be massive in, like, 4 weeks. Like, it doesn't just happen.
Yeah, well, obviously, I don't know, like a different, like getting smaller, or just becoming really skinny if you're not really kind of instantly, without also nutrition and lifestyle. I mean, like, as you said, I mean, I think it's funny, the way that you picture it, like being a commitment. It's also similar to other types of commitments. It might not be as serious as a marriage or as serious as a job. You're not going to get fired from the gym.
No.
If you don't go.
I mean, if you're doing something crazy at the gym, then maybe you might be.
But like, you kind of like, I think this is the funniest. Some people, everyone complains about this, but it's like, if you don't go to the gym, you're probably paying monthly, weekly membership.
Oh, so it's a free donation to the gym. They're reeling it in.
Yeah, like, you're the one that loses out, right? Like, so, consistency and commitment, you're saying? Good. Pretty good traits.
It's like, give it a go. Like, I think, everyone's sort of uncomfortable in the beginning when they start off at the gym. Like, no one ever really comes in like super confident. I mean, if you do, then obviously you're not going to last very long, Like, I think it's, like, you're always going to be in an uncomfortable situation, like, when you first start out, but, you grow your confidence as you sort of just keep going and keep doing it. And as long as you sort of commit, results will follow.
Cool. Yeah, keep growing. I hey? All the time, physically and mentally,
Yeah, yeah.
and in every other way that you need to. Awesome. Yeah. That's pretty much all we have time for. I think that we've
Cool.
planned. Unless you have anything else, I think this is
No, that's basically everything. I mean, yeah. Hopefully, sort of, you guys can, I guess, learn or take something from it, and apply to your own sort of day to day, or your gym journey, or whatever that might look like for you. So
yeah. I hope the Chillin' with Dylan listeners out there I'm sure you'll get something out of this, and I'm grateful and thankful that you're listening right now. And thanks to you, Cedric. I really enjoyed recording this. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
So good luck. I'll see you at the gym again.
I think I'll see you soon.
Again pretty soon.
Yeah.
So thanks again, and thanks everyone for listening. You've all just listened to another episode of Chillin' with
Dylan. Woo!